Welcome to Whispers and Choco. This is how we do, and if you don't know, now you do. I'm Shawnee Whispers.
And I'm Mike Choco.
Together we are Mike and Sean in purebred loco. Oh no, we fucked that up. Okay.
Yeah.
And we might go loco.
And we might go loco.
And just in case you wonder what went wrong, or you just in case you wonder what took long, we'll say that we're sorry, and this show is going.
This show is going
Straight to hell.
I like that one, yes.
Ficky, 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 ficky. Get the scratch. Tick, tick, tick. Tick.
What up, what up, what up?
Hello.
Hello, Michael.
Hello, Sean.
How's your melon smelling today? What are you looking around for?
My melon. I'm trying to get up there to smell it.
Oh, your melon's up there?
It's right here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, my melon's over here.
Oh, if you look it up.
Everything's looking
You
up.
got a big melon if you're looking up. What's up, buddy? How you been?
I'm doing good.
How'd the week treat you?
Hey, how'd the week treat you, Barzal?
Brajol.
Hey, I eat the Brajol.
I speak Italian, right?
Yeah.
We were doing accents last week.
Yeah, well,
my-
one of us is doing
This
accents.
is my Italian accent. Brajol.
Madonna mia.
What do you mean one of us is doing accent? Your
Yeah.
accents are not that good, dude. I'm just letting you know. Just want to tell you.
Yeah. Again, you wanted to get a month in advance so that you can practice
Well,
your
I
accent.
think for the contest, a month is a legit.
Okay, I give you a month. And
But I don't need a month. I could do it.
yeah, I don't need a month. I can do my Italian right now.
I could do ba-ba-ba-boo.
Boopity-boppity-boopity-boop.
I can, bada bing, bada boom.
No, you can't.
Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can, Mike.
Well,
Life is a waste of time.
time is a waste of life.
If you get
Get
wasted all the time, you
and
have the time of your life. Wow, it's great that you know that.
And
I
he's
love that.
Scottish,
I heard
too.
that the other day. It was hilarious. I thought that was one of the funniest things ever. It's like the drunken Scottish proverb. It's awesome.
It is. You take it with you and go forever.
It's great.
So, I got to get all the facts, but coming up is there's a Scottish holiday, right? And it's, I forgot to write it down, so it was just reading it. But they celebrate this day, and they drink whiskey and they have all this food. But the guy they celebrate, he wrote that song, the New Year song. What is it? I forgot he said, like, "Oh, Saint
O come, O ye faithful.
no, that's
I have
how
no
is
idea.
that Scottish?
I don't
Silent night.
It's
know. Oh, come.
no.
Oh,
what
you
the fuck?
faithful.
Yeah, that's it. Never mind.
I have no idea.
When I get it, we'll have this conversation.
My Scottish history is lacking. I'm sorry. I try to be like a historian, or like a student of history as much as possible. I'm definitely a nerd along that history line.
Well, everywhere I go, I like to.
I just love
like
it.
to find that, find something that's theirs wherever you go, and then learn it and
Very cool
try to
shit was
throw it at people's faces. I just learned this.
So you remember when I went to St. Michael's many, many years ago? Well, one of my classmates, Julie McCrory, became a teacher. She's a teacher in Queens, and it just so happened that my nieces go to her school.
Right.
So it's just like small world type stuff. Julie, like, first of all, when growing up, you kind of know like. Well, let me get to the story. So I'm going off track already.
But this is what I was trying to say.
Oh, there
the
it is.
Old
There it
Lang
is.
Syne.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, from Old Lang Syne.
It's a guy wrote
right.
this.
Old Lang Syne is the
Yes.
Scottish part. Yeah. Right. Excuse me. So, anyway, so they, Julie asked me to be interviewed for her occupation class, or it's an occupation. It's like it's a program. I don't know. It's the way they're doing things are way different than when I went to high school. You know what I mean? Like, and I was very happy to see. Like, it gives me faith, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it was. Another teacher was there, and he said that they were looking at things that I would never think that they were already teaching kids to kind of get ahead in life. And I said the one thing that I regret of that I think certain people had. I know me and you definitely didn't have it. Depending on the parenting, but being prepared for life with credit and all that shit, like learning how to balance a checkbook, which you didn't have to, but build credit, stuff like that. You learn how to be an adult before you're an adult.
Be responsible.
We didn't really get that.
No,
so
it
was almost like you're walking you're walking the path, and then whatever happens, you deal with it.
Well, because I read recently somebody was talking about that, and they were like, imagine being taught like. The facts, like even just something as stocks, like just bonds, interest rates, and all that.
All of it.
Like here's your mortgage. This is what you're going to do.
How the world works financially.
But school
So where you tie in.
There's a I don't know the woman's name, but she was a doctor, and she was like, "Do you look at school, right?" And this is again, I go back and I try to take this business class because again, like if you're not doing one thing right, you figure maybe I'll go into business. I don't know. And I took this business class, and the guy was really good, and he was like, "Look," he goes, "if you come here and you want to learn how to own your own business and be successful," he goes, "that's not what I'm here to do. I'm here how to teach you the basic numbers of what is taught so that you go off and work for someone else."
Right.
Because they need those million people to show up every day and crunch numbers and put all the process and go through all that. Right. And I was like, he's like, and then he told a really cool story about Harvard Business School. And this guy's doing an interview, and the interview of this businessman is for his master's degree.
Right.
And so he goes out there and he's doing an interview, and on the back behind him, he notices there's in glass, there's this paperwork, white paper with big red lettering and numbers on it. So after a while, every day he says, every now and then I look up and I'm interviewing this guy, and it's a successful businessman. And I keep looking up, and so finally at the end of the interview, he's like, "I just have to ask you, I've been looking at this all day. What is it?" And he pulls it down. He goes, "Oh, so when I was in Harvard Business School, this is what I presented for my degree.
His presentation.
And his teacher was like, what the red letters were: fail. This will never work. This is unsuccessful. It's a pipe dream. Never. This is the fantasy involved in this is so he's reading it down, and he was the guy who created FedEx.
Look at that.
Like it just some vision of like the craziest things ever. So I get that they don't teach you. They never did. And up until recently, you would have to have two really good parents to be like, "Listen, I need you to learn how to bounce a checkbook."
You know what, though?
Invest.
I think there were great parents out there that still didn't even do that. Like, teaching your kid about credit in the 70s and 80s wasn't really a thing. Because credit wasn't really a thing.
They made it something later.
In the later years, it really was. It became more important every day. You wanted to buy a house, you had to have good credit. Starting in the 80s, 90s, or whatever.
Well, you didn't have to have great credit.
Well,
now,
no. What I mean is just along the path of listen, regardless of what that path is, whether it's good credit, bad credit, good money, a lot of less down payment. There's different paths to buying a home. I'm just talking about the actual fundamental knowledge that you would want to share with children of how real that is in your life and how soon it comes. Because you graduate high school, and listen, my son, I told him, whatever you want to do, I have your back, and he's going to come work with me, and I love it. And when he told me that, I was like super proud. But, the one thing I did tell him, no matter what you do, there's no pressure. But just remember, before you know it, 35 comes, and this is not, it sounds like there's no pressure, but there's pressure. 35 will be there. And do you want to not have a plan at 35? So it's better to start planning your shit when you're 22, 21, 22. And I'm not saying plan your life, live your life, start building that life at 22. Just have an idea of, do you want to buy a house? Do you want to start a family? The fundamentals, that's what I mean, fundamentals. Some people, listen, raising a family is not for everybody. Getting married is not for everybody. You know what I mean? Having a kid's not for everybody.
No.
So I think that 21, 22, you should really kind of have an idea, know what you want to do. And, they don't really teach that in school.
No.
I think that's kind of I think that's important because, first of all, again, sexually, how, this is like the, I don't know, maybe the asexual revolution. I don't even know what the hell to call it. People are offended by when you refer to them as a certain thing.
Well, there's some people. Well, it's
some people. I'm not saying everybody. But my point is that these are things that when you teach, if you teach this fundamental shit at a little bit of a younger age, I don't think you deal with a lot of that stuff. That's what I'm saying. It kind of like trims the fat, so to speak.
I think so. I think like a
preparation. We don't get. Listen, schools right now are broken. Healthcare in this country and schools in this country are broken unless they're paid. Like private schools or small town school USA that pays for their own shit, but does their own stuff.
Yeah, I think I think there are still some public schools where the teachers still show up and do the job well.
Schools are broken, man.
I think that. I think
for the most part.
I think that's what they want. I think that's what they wanted. I really do. I think they wanted to about like when the last education secretary
dumb
Betsy,
everybody down.
Betsy
DeVos.
DeVos.
If you dumb everybody down, it's easy for them to
Betsy
control.
DeVos. She took money away from public schools and transitioned for the charter schools and all that.
Right.
And they called her out for it. And listen, going back to something stupid in that area, they were like, would you remove student debt so students can like pick themselves up quicker instead of having to pay that off? Because Obama was still paying, he and his wife were still paying their debt until when he became the president.
Yeah, most people are.
And she wouldn't do that. And people were like, well, if I had to pay it, you have to pay it. And they go, that's not why she rejected it.
Right.
She's a debt collector, and one of the biggest debt collectors in her system is student loans. $35 million a year she takes on interest. Why would she get rid of that?
Why would you see again?
Why would you stop that?
It's big business.
Yeah. So
and the
but they tried to close those.
The
public
longer
schools.
the longer it takes you to pay it, the better off they are.
$100,000 is $300,000 when you finally pay it off.
Just like so, it kind of goes back to the thought process of just like everything else in America, it becomes big business, and it screws the person. Because should it take somebody a whole lifetime to pay for their education?
No.
What the fuck is the point, dude? What's the point? I'd rather go get a blue collar job and make $100,000 a year out of school. You know what I'm saying? Then have to pay back a debt to be like, unless you're
it's the rest of your life.
So people think, I'll become a doctor or a lawyer. First of all, there are billions of doctors in this world, and there are billions of lawyers in this world. Okay? Only how there's that 1% of the population? Same shit in those fields. You think every doctor is a millionaire? I mean, that doesn't happen.
No.
1%, it's maybe more than 1%.
Right,
maybe
but
5%.
If you go to
there
Montana,
are doctors that are broke, that are living in one-bedroom apartments with a freaking roommate, bro.
Right. Let me take
Same
out
thing
the
with lawyers.
Let me take out the thing with Montana. The one thing I'll tell you, like Montana's a very rich place.
Yellowstone.
Yeah, well, Montana's a very rich place,
yes.
Right? And so a lawyer or a doctor in Montana is successful. But when you leave
Montana... Yeah, because there's 3,000 people that live in the whole state.
No, there's 300,000 people, but they're all wealthy.
If somebody dies, if somebody
They're
gets
all
sick,
wealthy, that's why.
I know, but if somebody gets sick, it takes the doctor 45 minutes to get there.
Well, they have a helicopter. They have to ride in a horse.
They all live like
if you have
30 miles apart.
The definition of having a stallion in Montana is legit. Like you have a horse and you got a
helicopter.
You got a helicopter.
Crazy.
But I mean, there are other places.
Yellowstone.
There are other places where you go and these doctors don't make a lot of money, and they're like just great at it. They're just good doctors.
Right. No. Listen, don't get me. I always obviously.
But I think a lot of people.
I exaggerate in a lot of things I say, but I think you know where I'm going with.
No, I know. I'm just saying it's like there's
are
people that think like, I'm going to be a doctor, I'm going to make $150,000 a year.
Right.
But after the same thing as politicians, after $150,000 a year, they're making $80 after taxes.
Right. Yeah,
that's why they get corrupt.
And
that's why they get corrupt.
No, but I think that it's
How
also
can I
why
make more money?
it's also why doctors don't talk against certain things when they know it can hurt their career.
Pharmaceuticals and stuff like that.
Which is going on right now. I think it's like, I know me and you had a kind of a tentative agreement to not really talk about bad shit because we don't want to
it wasn't
bring
that.
a
It was
show
politics
down.
because you yell at politics.
It's not so much politics.
I yell at politics.
But you know what? No, we all yell at politics. But no, I think it's more about, first of all, this is beyond politics. People are seeing it left and right. It's evident now. It's not like.
Well, the evidence is there.
The evidence is right. Follow the science is kind of what they always want you to do. And
now it's follow the money.
Now, if you don't, follow the money. It's a joke, So, that being said, without getting too crazy into it, the thought process is that if you're told something enough, then eventually it's going to become fact, right? So you're going to be like, yes. You're a yes man. Like, yeah, I agree. There are times like with doctors, they can't. It's almost like they're not lying, but they're not telling the truth. So they can't you can't doubt or disregard or shit on, for lack of a better term, the science of the vaccines, right? But the fact that the guy who created the vaccine, the M1R, whatever, the MRN, whatever.
Well,
The guy who's being silenced, so essentially, which is obviously proven and it's all over the place. The guy who's being, he when he created this vaccine said boosters you don't need boosters.
Yeah. So his thing. So.
And they shut him down for that. They shut him down because he talked against it.
Right. What it was
against something that he had a hand.
Right. He had a hand in the previous.
In the original creation.
Right. This one is different. Like this vaccination is not in this.
Correct. Well, listen, Mike. That's kind of their. I think their escape. Breaking case of break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah.
That's what they're going. Oh well, it's not the same vaccine.
Right. But
it's the vaccine.
But
let's get that straight.
So the thing about this, there's a physicist that I reached out to, and he wouldn't do an interview, and I was like, okay. It was like, so he directed me to this webpage, and I download, read some of these stuff, and you get these shorts of it, and you can't get all the information. Again, when somebody says I read an article and have extensive knowledge of it, you're never going to get it.
That doesn't happen.
You're never going to have, so it's what happens is when you look at all the pages of what they've published. Now it takes a lot to get published. After 4 years of school, 4 years of your residency, then you become a scientist, and after 8 years of working and traveling for all these different people, then to get a paper published on your work, you're like, it's 12 years worth of.
So are you going with the 80,000 pages? Are you going with that story?
No.
Okay, because if you
but it's something similar to that. So, but anyway, he leads me to this, and I go to these pages, and I download was the top 10 pages in regards to it, right? And you read, they say trust the science, but let me read the science, because if I read it and I don't believe it, like that doesn't sound right. Well, but I don't know. Just because I think it sounds wrong doesn't mean that it's wrong. Just because somebody told me, hey, don't believe that something's not right there. How are they right? If you read it and then you look up the research to somewhere else and somewhere else and somewhere, there's always another outlet, another thing to look at. And it was just saying that what was in this vaccination, right? But going back to all the vaccinations, the only one that really has been trouble has been the flu shot. Everything else is made synthetically to counter what goes in your system. The flu shot is the only thing that's injected with a form of the flu to counter your system, but not ready for the next flu, only for the last flu.
Right.
So there's stuff out here.
Well, because it changes. It's strains change.
Before the pandemic, right? It was so bad for doctors and scientists in the flu that they couldn't catch up anymore. They stopped catching up. And there's a documentary about it. It's called Pandemic, where the scientists, and they were only talking about flus. They're not talking about any other vaccinations and all that, like how it was in India, here and all that, and how they were struggling to catch up to the next flu worse than ever. They were 3 steps behind it. There was no funding for it. They're just trying to get this, and the steps they did to help to find it. But no person could take 7 shots of the flu shot. And still, have you ever taken the flu shot?
And I did it. I think I did it twice. Once I was deathly ill after I took it.
Because it's a strain.
Yeah.
So the strain had mutated so much that 1 shot didn't help, 2 didn't do it. They were at 7, and they were like, no human being could handle 7 flu shots.
I love how they say that, and I've heard people say that there's no way that you took a flu shot and got sick. But you're literally.
I've never heard that.
I've heard so many people tell me that.
Like regular people on the street kind of thing?
Because I wouldn't get it after that.
Oh.
And I'm like, I'm not getting a flu shot. I got it. I think I may have gotten it twice. I only, first of all, when I was a doorman, union doorman, that shit was free. And it was kind of the first time I had free health anything. You know what I mean? I was like 19 years old. My mother was on Medicaid, so that was like, I had the only free the only free health care I had was when I was a child. So when I got the doorman job, they offered all of that stuff at the Union Hall, which was down on, 6th Avenue in Houston, Avenue of Americans in Houston, 32 BJ headquarters.
Yeah, they moved. They're on 21st Street now.
You're in that union. That's right.
They're on 21st Street.
So they used to do everything in the building. The building was massive, and they used to do everything in the building.
So if you go, it's the funny thing. It's one of the worst unions. They like medically.
So corrupt.
It's
The
all,
president had like a duplex suite.
yeah,
on
but
the roof.
they you know
Gus
what's funny?
Pavona, never forget.
They went
that.
in there and they pulled him out. They put in some
gangster. Yo, it was hilarious. Duplex. Yo, bro, it was like a party pad up there on top of his office building.
Yeah, so they built a brand new building, and the top 2 floors were basically an office, an apartment, a full kitchen. Gus Pavona
Party pad.
And when all his delegates, like
He was one of those first like rooftop
a
deck.
majority of his delegates all got taken in for like money laundering, and they were
that
all,
was a big scandal.
and every single one of them used to walk around with a pinky ring and a 3-piece suit,
doubt.
and they used to talk like
I
this.
went there a lot. I went to that building a lot because I was young and I was offered these free services. I'm like, shit.
So,
I'm
but
going.
if you go to the Union Building, everything is for free. Everything
At the building, yeah,
at the building.
yeah.
But they make it clear,
Right.
Like if you want dental, you want to check out, you
So
got
I did everything there. Yeah.
You're like, fuck that, I don't want to pay for anything.
Well, like I said, it was the first time I had this. I didn't like. I was enamored by this. I'm like, wait, free? Yeah, I get a free physical, and the physical. I was 19 years old. Okay, what 19-year-old gets a physical every year? But it was a free day off.
So you just take it.
And
yeah,
when
you let them poke and prod you.
They asked you go to your physical.
You get paid for it.
and you got paid for it.
It's called a clinic day.
Clinic day.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's take a step back. Let's
Okay.
go back to
The fake vaccines.
no. Let's skip the vaccine. We can come back to that. The fake
I'm not
vaccine.
saying it's fake. They're not.
It's
all
not fake.
Some of them.
It's not fake.
No, it's a good vaccine. It's a real
Well,
vaccine.
here's
It
the
just
thing.
doesn't work. It doesn't work for every strain.
Here's the thing. When
It's not working for Omicron.
well,
It saved lives for sure, but it's fucking people up.
Yeah,
I'm
it
telling you
slowed it
right
down,
now,
but
people are getting banged up, dude.
I didn't. We'll go into this for a second.
That's a fact.
But what I find funny, like of the people that have the companies that have gone out there and build these vaccinations, and we were joking about the Johnson & Johnson, like don't do it, don't get the Johnson. What happened? They were like blood clots and all that. Anyway, at CNN, if you look at every 15-minute commercial, it's fucking Pfizer.
Yeah,
and it was like
it's
when
disgusting.
they say when you do your politics supported by Pfizer, who makes billions of dollars off this vaccination.
Did you see what they made the
and
quarter?
you pump it? Goodbye.
You got the computer in front of you?
Goodbye.
See if they even tell you. They probably won't even tell you on Google because they're all connected. Pfizer's profit last quarter. Dude, it's going to make you want to throw up all over your computer.
No, because
So follow the money.
hundreds
We
of
talked about
billions-
this, like, and it's not like we know anything. Like, there's the problem. This is the issue I have with fundamental. Again, we're going back to that word. Forcing people to do shit is just so wrong. I don't care. Like, if you
Pfizer did not profit $37 billion in most recent quarter.
yeah, that's is that the first?
Well,
thing that
no,
came
but
up?
I'll tell you why. The AP, you can trust the AP because there's no affiliation. There's no backing. The AP
Got it.
is legit.
That's the index company.
So it's the Associated Press, and what it is basically there's no sponsor for it. It's just news.
No, I'm not talking about the news, but so
So the
saying
AP
they're saying it's for face.
Yeah, it's not.
So all right, was it 37 billion? How much
right.
was it?
Well, that's
So if it's 35, listen, I'm not saying I'm not accusing any news of anything. I think they're all
24 billion.
They made $24 billion in profit last quarter.
yeah.
24. Listen, think about the number we're talking about. 24 in a quarter.
In a quarter.
That's 1 quarter of a year. 4 months.
130% operational growth, excluding
Operational growth to make a vaccine.
revenue. Yeah, well, like as long as they
You
make-
have to grow to make more.
So when you make a booster, the government's like, "Oh, you're making it for us."
So they made $24 billion in 4 months. $8 billion a month in profit.
their operational.
Oh, I'm sorry, $7.3 billion a month in profit.
Their operational.
Are you okay? So hold on.
Their operational costs went up $11 billion.
Okay, so are we still thinking that this isn't about money? Are
No.
we still thinking that this vaccine?
No, I
Not you.
didn't.
I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about all the freaking robots out there that were so judgmental on the people who were scared to get a vaccine. Now, and we said, yelling. I'm sorry, I won't yell. I'm not going to yell. I said I'm going to keep my composure. I'm not going to yell.
Stop yelling,
Because it's so
please.
stupid, but it's frustrating. But I'm going to explain something. And I'm not going to mention names. And I'm not, if I'm lying, I'm dying. I would not sit here and bullshit anybody. I sold a home to somebody who works in healthcare. Okay? They're an EMT. Okay? That's probably too much information already right there. But the person told me that they had to sign an NDA months ago, like about 4. This was when I first went into business with them. I'd say about a month later. It's about 2 months ago.
Okay.
They had to sign an NDA where they weren't allowed to talk about vaccines or anybody dying that were vaccinated. Okay? It was just part of the whole thing. So, I mean, maybe that's not weird. You're like, oh, don't talk about something you don't know about. Like, they kind of use all these different, like, reasons for you to sign shit like this. To get somebody to sign something, first of all, is weird. And I asked, I was like, really, dude? He was like, he has no reason to lie to me. And by the way,
I wouldn't go.
He's fully vaccinated.
Maybe have no pronouns. Well, we won't even go with no pronouns.
Yeah, well, it's already too late. Vaccinated.
I'm so close to saying
fully vaccinated, family, whole vaccinated, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even somebody who's anti this, and he wasn't forced to be. He did it on his own. So that immediately made him like kind of weird out a little bit. He's like, wait, I'm signing something to not talk about. Why? What are you hiding? Immediately you think, what are you hiding?
Well, I would think they would be hiding even if they didn't say it.
Then they quiet down the doctor who created the vaccine. Then they quiet down any doctors, essentially, who speak about the treatments that you could use as opposed to getting vaccinated and using immunotherapy and using the antibodies. They shut those people down because they pushed the vaccine. Every commercial. How many commercials when you watch TV are about vaccinations?
What's that? The New York State.
The lady goes,
I
trust my doctor because my doctor's black. She told me that I could get the vaccine I trust her. That's not racist, dude. That's how is that even remotely acceptable by any of these people?
Because they're trying to
I watched that commercial and I cringed, dude. I cringed.
One day at my job, right? They were like they were like trying to push people that come in to wear a mask, right? And not everybody would wear a mask. And these guys that come in from FedEx were the main guys. Dominican kid I would talk to all the time, and he was talking about how he got it. Because I would say like there were people that confront people, and I'm not those. I don't like that. And and I would just say
those are the people that should fucking eat a dick,
right? And I would say
don't confront nobody. Mind your business.
And I would say, hey,
remember you were talking about business before?
Yeah.
Best kind of business. Mind your business.
Yeah. Well, I would say like, hey, do you need a mask? And I go, oh, I'm not telling you need it. Like, do you have to? Even though it says
just offering,
you have it, like just in case you need it. And the kid was like, one guy was like, nah. I was like, I've already got it, so I build up immunities. And I said, are you sure? And he was like, yeah, I'm sure. So I'm not going to wear one. And so he already made it clear, and I'm like, all right, so I just got to make sure that nobody comes in and confronts him. This other brother comes in, young brother, and we were talking, and I was like, listen, and we were talking about some things that he learned watching this, reading this, and I was like, look, just be careful. I said, there's a lot of misinformation on both sides of the fence, right? Something sounds educational because it's different what you taught. Look to see what the other thing says on both sides so that you understand where it's going for, and maybe both of them lead in a different direction, so find out where they came from before you form an opinion on that. And he was like, oh, I understand. It's
that was so confusing to me.
Things drift left.
I know what you're saying.
Things drift right.
I get what you're saying.
But they start somewhere, yes. Right? It starts somewhere. So,
I was just watching your mouth talk very fast. You
look. But that's my song. That's my song. Anyway, so he came with somebody.
Yellowstone.
I asked him and said like something about the mask. And he goes, COVID? Nah, fuck COVID. He goes, COVID ain't been in the hood. I ain't seen nobody in the hood get COVID. And I was like, what? And then I was like, well, all right, here, let me show you COVID in the hood,
Yeah, right. Highest numbers in the world.
And I was like, why? It's like from the projects or apartment buildings. Same thing in India. The reason why their numbers with the flu and COVID were so high, they're
lack
so
of medical care,
but they're also so densely populated
right.
that
Well, that
right on
that goes hand in hand.
Thousands and thousands sit on top of each other. Right. More people are going to get sick. Poverty is going to get sick.
100%.
Because what are you going to do if you have your rent and you have food? You're going to spend $100 or $30 on masks and gloves and all that other stuff, or are you just going to go
listen to them, get vaccinated, and then take a risk
like you're going to be like
your future
right?
Health.
You can only
listen. This is the whole thing, okay? Again, I think I mentioned it last time. I absolutely love Howard Stern. I think he is literally the greatest to ever do this whole thing of communicating, not like this is even like that, but with him communicating to listeners that on a level that radio didn't exist like that back then.
Yeah, like
You know what I'm saying? Like he created something that didn't exist, which is something that is
because he was extreme. The other thing about
it's
him
not
was
about extreme, dude.
No.
You're missing my point.
No. I'm
Well,
not.
listen,
I'm not
listen.
missing your point.
I don't want to get off track though, because just let me make my point.
I'm
So,
allowed to jump in now.
Hold on, you are, but I just don't want to lose my thought process because I have ADHD. So he literally started something that, like you could say, he invented something. He invented it, okay? Because I don't care what you say about Don Imus. Don Imus was not doing the kind of thing.
What do you
the
think,
kind of thing that, Don Imus
Trump?
had his, his 30, whatever. I'm not going to get into the specifics, but
Come to
point
my
is,
ranch.
Howard did some really good, some groundbreaking shit, and I respect him on every level ever, except that the fact that he's like a germaphobe. He's like, not that I don't respect that. God bless you. Like Jerry Seinfeld's a fucking germaphobe. They're weird about like.
He's also weird about Jerry's weird about people.
Howard's on that Michael Jackson
was an
level.
awful
Like
line.
Howard doesn't want to be around nobody. You know? So you can't listen to a man like him when it comes to any information when it comes to the vaccines, because he's
scared.
I literally heard him say it's almost where I have to turn. I listen to him. I subscribe. I love listening. I have to turn it off sometimes because he gets so crazy. Because he's like, 2 years. This is literally the other day. He goes, I don't even know if I could go to the dentist. Me and Beth had to decide to go to the dentist. Beth, by the way, his wife, one of the coolest celebrities I've ever worked with.
Okay.
So the one thing about it though is like the misinformation. Joe Rogan had Sanjay Gupta on. Remember? You remember that?
That was funny though.
But you remember about the whole horse and worm stuff.
Right.
And Gupta,
He goes, "You guys lied."
Who's a super respected doctor by everybody. Gupta literally said, "Yeah, horse dewormer is a very effective.
It's used. It's not a horse. It's used as a horse
Well,
dewormer.
that's the thing.
But it's not
It's
just
not
a horse
dewormer.
Right.
It's a drug that has many uses. One of them being horse dewormer.
Right. So the people that lied to
Howard said 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Oh, look at this guy. He's taking horse dewormer. Meanwhile, millions of people are being treated with this thing. So this is where I'm saying where a man of that power is spreading misinformation. He's talking about something that's not true. He's saying, look at these. This is literally what he said. Look at these fucking weirdos. They're taking horse dewormers. Like, who knows what's going to happen with them? What are they going to grow? Horse cock? Like, making a joke. And I thought that was funny. But you're really...
When people
it's kind of funny.
You're going to run out.
Tell me that's not funny.
It's like, I got to get this horse
But
dewormer.
this is why he's the best. But my point is, when you say something like that, and he has 50 gazillion people listening to him and absorbing everything he says as gospel, that's my point. And it's bad because he's so he said that he thought that veterans should be forced to get vaccinated before they got their federal money. He said that on the air.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, dude.
I think it's choice.
You're
again.
a Jewish man too, bro. You're like, your people had numbers tattooed on their fucking bodies, bro. And you're sitting here, and then today he goes, "Oh, I just want a free world. Where can we move to that's free?"
But do you think
he goes,
fair-
I want
do
to
you
move
think
to Scandinavia. Meanwhile, Scandinavia, they don't do the vaccine.
Do you think it's fair comparison though that what people try to infiltrate?
Shouldn't say that.
But do you think that's a fair
They're
comparison?
pro-immunotherapy in Scandinavia.
Right, but I'm saying here, do you think that it's a fair comparison to say to bring up the anything from the Holocaust and the results to people getting the vaccination?
I think that
I hear it a lot. I've read it a lot from people that have put it up there.
Yeah, I think it was a really fair point when Gina Carano brought it up. She said, so basically all she said, and if you look it up, exactly what she said. She got fired from The Mandalorian for some reason.
I know.
So her co-star in the show, who happens to be The Mandalorian, who's a great actor, he in an award, when he accepted an award, he said something in regards to Jews being lined up in the street. Like something, or Jews being rounded up or something.
In comparison to making people get the shot.
No. Just he used it as a some kind of a description.
Okay, so he's talking about something.
But it was something, and Jews being rounded up like that. That's basically all he said. We could, if you look it up, I'm guarantee you, if you just Google in Gina Carano, and then all the rest will come up. Because then what happened was she brought up, well, she's a known like right winger. She brought up the fact that people being having to carry these identification cards and being branded as vaccinated or unvaccinated. She goes, and she didn't say, all she said was many years ago, Jews were rounded up in the city or in towns and pulled outside. She basically said exactly what he said, but using it for a different comparison. And she got fired. And he didn't. And he did say something like...
Former Mandalorian star Gina Carano responds after Giancarlo Esposito praised her as a co-star, right? But keep going.
Well, that's not the thing I said. But yes, what's his name? He's a great...
I know. It's coming up. Pasquale. It's right
Pasquale, yeah. That dude. He had said something in an acceptance. Listen, and they were both right. None of them are wrong. That's the point.
Right.
That's my point. You can say something and not be offending the world, and you're not. You're comparing one to the other, and it's not Biden got crushed for comparing the George Floyd and Martin Luther King. And now let me tell you something. And I'm not a Biden fan at all because whatever, but he was not wrong in what he said. Okay, George Floyd's murder, like it or not or otherwise, created a revolution in one moment. Martin Luther King, it took decades for him to get, or years for him to gain momentum because he was one man on a righteous movement. But it wasn't like a tragic motion that created his legacy. He was a man, which makes him probably one of the greatest of his history.
Selma, what happened in Selma?
Right, correct. But Selma wasn't one incident. Selma was the culmination of a collective, a bunch of incidents.
It's like
Selma was them saying, you know what, we had enough, we're marching.
When white people saw what happened to them.
But my point is, like, George Floyd got killed. It was one. Listen, and the guy was
murdered. He was murdered.
He was murdered.
He was murdered.
100%. He was a junk box. He was not probably a good guy, but he was clean cut murdered in front of the world on camera, and that is a very shocking thing to watch. And that's why and I get what Biden was saying. When I heard that, I was like, ooh, you probably shouldn't have said that on Martin Luther King Day, though. You know what I'm saying? But he wasn't wrong in his point.
So, this one was losers in 1865, the Confederate flag. Losers in 1945, the Nazi flag. Losers in 2020,
the MAGA hat.
Which
is such a joke. I mean, I have no love for Trump, but the way they treat this dude, it's insane. This country was in so much better shape 4 years ago than it is right now. 3 years ago.
Listen, what's crazy? Like, and
I hated him.
If you take everything that ended when Obama left office, the economy started flourishing. Healthcare was spread out.
It was on its way.
It was on its way.
At the end of his term, it was on its way.
When Trump went in there and he rallied people and he got people and their support, and
for good or bad, that was the thing.
Yes, because I hear a lot of people that were like,
there's some Trump supporters that are nuts, dude.
Right, but even so, it doesn't. He still rallied people. He was a reality star.
No, he was, and that's why they rallied behind him because he wasn't a politician.
Right, but here's the thing about him. He always donated to both sides of the fence. Mm-hmm. Okay, he's friends of all of them. He hangs
was in
out.
Rap videos, guys.
Yeah, he also is. He
was a registered Democrat his entire life.
When he got married,
I'm 47.
Yeah, he was.
I'm 47, right? So I'm not even. I'm a registered independent. Trump was a registered Democrat until he was like 59 years old or some shit. I think it was like 59.
There's a picture of his wedding to Melania. And he's got his arm around Hillary Clinton, and she's laughing, probably in her cackle laugh, and he's laughing with them, and Bill's laughing, and Melania's in the back, like doing her thing.
Friends, man.
Right. Anyway, so what Obama did was make white and black people and Asian and Latino people bound together.
Yes.
In his second term. Right,
I wish he was a better president because he was such a good person.
Well,
I think Obama's a good dude. I think he's a good person. He's a good speaker. He had a good heart. He had a good intention.
But here's a thing though.
I think he got caught up being the first black president of the United States. It's hard to succeed, man.
Republicans own the House and the Senate for the last 6 years.
Yeah,
they controlled everything. So when people say, "Oh, he didn't do this,"
they shot his shit down.
They shot everything.
No, I agree.
He had to use executive order a few times.
But what you're saying, you're right. You're 100% right.
So when Trump comes in,
but again, a lot of the stuff they did shoot down, led to a good economy leading into Trump's presidency. So in other words,
Yeah, but he opened the floodgates of the economy. If you look at the creation of jobs, and I love that Trump likes to tout himself, but if you look at the creation of jobs, Obama and Clinton created more jobs than he did, right? And these are facts. He's like, look, go through
it's
the
not
AP.
true.
Oh, you can look it up through the AP.
But you got the computer in front of you.
Okay.
Because I'm telling you right now, the listen, I'm just saying.
I know what
you have
hold
to
on.
go. By, listen, okay, you can go by the way that's judged. The way the workforce is judged is by unemployment numbers.
Okay, so
that's the way you have to judge it, right? Am I right or wrong? How do we judge people that work?
Okay, so but here's the thing. I wanted to go back to when you were saying you were in the school,
right?
Because I think that's pretty amazing that they brought you in for this like
the interview, yeah, which was amazing.
We skipped away. We skipped away for a half an hour.
I said ADHD.
Anyway, so I'll go back to what we're looking at now in a minute. But I just wanted to say was that so when you had Trump. And he pulled a couple of pins out as the flood was coming out and all this and the restrictions, some of the restrictions he put out. And so like some of the things that they did were questionable and like who does it benefit? So I understand why he removed it. But what he did was he didn't rally people together. He found a select group that would join him to be mad. They wanted to be mad at things. It's like people weren't mad.
But that's rallying people together.
So what I didn't say,
however you want to.
What he
like
said,
I said before, good or bad.
When he went out there, when he went out there, he blamed
You're
everything
right.
on the black guy.
He targeted See, I don't.
He did. Listen to everything he said. Okay. He blames Obama for every. I did
that's
better
not
than him.
blaming the black guy. See, that's you.
I could say that.
Why? Because Obama's black.
Because he's black.
All right. So that's my point. You doing that is all that's doing is saying Trump is a racist. Now
I don't know if he's a racist. I don't give a shit.
But Mike, all right, Studio Mike.
I just said that he blamed everything on the black guy.
Hold on a second. Why are you yelling? You're the one yelling right now.
Oh, my
all I said was but it's a statement that you said. Oh, he just blamed everything on the black guy.
Yeah.
That makes him sound like he's racist.
To who? To what? Because
to anybody.
Okay. I don't know on one hand or the other.
Why would you just said he blamed everything on Obama?
Because Obama said what? Why didn't I just say Obama?
Yeah.
Because I chose to say the black guy.
All right, but that's my point. Because you wanted to say that Trump is a racist.
No, I didn't.
Do you think Trump's a racist?
No, I don't think so. Okay. I don't know. But no, as a matter of fact, time out.
You don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know.
I personally, honestly, I don't know for sure.
And just because
I would say that racist people don't associate with people of the other color. They don't. I know people who use racist slang on both colors, both sides. I know Dominicans and Puerto Ricans that are more racist to blacks than whites. So I know racist people on every end. But let's get one thing clear. Racist people, real racist people.
We've had this conversation
don't
already.
interact, right?
You had this conversation, and I said,
Trump interacts with people until
I used the word vernacular, and you got all
vernacular. Vernacular is a good word because
you got wet in your pants when I said it, and I was like,
I didn't.
Yes, you did. You were like, hey, that's a good word. No, it's not the way I said it.
It is a good word.
You were like, it's a good word, and you were like, oh, you got
very descriptive.
Because I think the vernacular of like when you say bad drivers, right? And you associate someone with
people in the left lane that drive 50 miles an hour.
Or we say, what's the joke? Are they old, Asian, or both?
Or women.
Oh, well, I mean, old Asian women. No, but see, like that's you remove that from the
or an old Asian woman, which is the freaking.
So
it's like the end of time.
So
try driving behind that lady.
I think part of it is that you remove certain things from the way you speak. You come to become presidential.
Right. He was an awesome. He was an awful vernacular.
Right.
The guy was a terrible speaker.
But
maybe the worst.
Even worse than that, when you come to praising even the bad things, you say you could take the bad because you have some good, right? So the next generation comes in, they're like, he's running for re-election, right? Biden gets elected because there are Republicans that voted for Trump that were like,
They hated him so much they voted for Biden.
Right, they went for Biden.
I hope Trump doesn't run, but I swear to God, listen, there's no way Biden wins a second term.
No. I'll tell you. Oh wait, I'll tell you how.
The guy basically sounded like he was having a stroke the other day.
I'll tell you how.
It's so bad.
I'll tell you how.
And Kamala,
she's gone. She's gone.
They hate her. The Democrats they're turning on her.
Do you know what they're asking her to do?
Kind of scary.
They're asking her to step down and let Buttigieg go in there. And if Buttigieg does go in, Biden can build it back up.
And you know what? it's a little more. She's bad, dude. She's not.
Yeah, she speaks down to people.
She's
that
so bad.
fake, that fake French accent she did. You know, when she showed up, I heard this on.
If that was, why are we gonna do in politics? We
We said we wouldn't. But
do it.
listen,
just
is
gotta-
there anything else to talk about? Really?
Hold that. I got to say this though. When she showed up,
It's such a shit show. You
This-
have to talk about
this
it.
comedian pointed it out, and I was like, "This
the
was
fact
like."
that they put him in front of the camera. I can't believe they did that.
When
to the guy.
she showed up to one of these events, and it was I think it was at a school or something, and she showed up in like a sweatshirt, faded blue jeans, and brand new Timberlands, and the comedian was like, "It's like that detective that just got on the job. He's undercover for the first time." Right? Like when you look at her,
that's
Yo, when
hilarious.
you look at her when she's in those Timberland boots, you're like, huh?
You never wore those a day in your
You'll
life.
never a day in a life. Today's the first day. She's undercover for the first
You
time.
don't even know how to walk at Tim's.
So, yep.
Oh, she's such a fraud.
Yeah. So
I told you, Trish Trish read Michelle Obama's book, and I don't know if she read Hillary. Oh, Trish said, by the way, we're always late, and I was like, babe, I was working. Sorry, work.
I have to explain this.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sorry, I was late on my podcast. She was like tuned in, ready to listen. I don't know if she read Hillary. I don't think she read Hillary.
15 minutes she got lost.
She read Michelle Obama and she read Kamala.
walking around.
And she doesn't. She was like, I don't like Kamala. She was like, everything in her book is completely opposite of how she is as a person in front of people.
She has people
And-
that left
but-
her,
but
like
let
that
me-
worked for her.
This is crazy. And you know what's funny? I was just going to bring that up. Like so many people like that used to work where can't be around her anymore. I was watching, I don't even know what it was. Whatever the hell it was. It was like Extra, something like that. And apparently there's like a leak coming about her. You know?
Oh, I've heard this. Like
Oh,
she's
yeah.
got aides that are ready to like.
Ready to drop
Yeah.
bombs. And
That
I'm
they're-
like, so
that they're turning on her.
This is why I said before they were turning on her. She might have to step down because people are literally turning on her. Like more than when you get in the eye of the public in TMZ and all that bullshit. Because those people don't do politics.
TMZ's awful.
That's why I saw it.
Yeah.
It was like
I hope
extra-
one day to be in TMZ.
And listen, forgive me because I swear to watch that shit. Like we watch Jeopardy regularly and Wheel of Fortune, and before that, sometimes like Extras on before or whatever's on
get
7.
to that.
there.
I'll get to this, and then we're gonna leave it alone.
But anyway, yeah. But anyway, they were turning on it. Like it said, that Democrats are turning on her at a level of where she might have to back down. And I'm like, how much dirt can you possibly have? But she's a former DA. She dealt with putting a lot of people away in jail.
she's a cop. First of all, she's a cop.
She's not a cop. She's law enforcement. Different different than cop. She was a DA.
She's an attorney.
But she made a lot of. This is my point. I'm sorry to do. She made a lot of enemies in L.A. L.A.'s a big city, dude.
She attacked. She went after black families.
You know
she went
who
after black families.
You know who her ex-boyfriend was? Montel Williams.
I heard they dated, not boyfriend, though, right?
Yeah, Montel.
Yeah,
that was
but
her,
not-
that was her.
I like Montel.
Yeah.
Montel's a man.
He's the splash guard.
It's all right. So are you ready?
And that's not. This is how we do it.
No, it's a different Montel.
Different Montel.
All right.
folks.
Are you ready?
For all you youngins.
Job creation.
Job creation.
Job creation.
Bill Clinton.
At 18.6 million jobs created under his administration.
Very good.
Number 2, Ronald Reagan.
Yes.
16.5 million jobs created. This is created. This isn't
Creative.
just
Right.
Franklin D. Roosevelt. 15 million jobs created.
So
And
Bill Clinton,
Bill Clinton created
by
first.
3 million.
So
has
here,
the lead.
let's go to the top, right? So the 8 years. He did it from 93 to 2001, 18.6.
I love, first of all, Lincoln's my favorite president. I'm a weird history guy. Bill Clinton's my guy.
He's got to be.
I love Bill Clinton.
81 to 89 with Reagan, 16 and a half,
Reagan wasn't my guy.
right?
That dress.
The
I like
dress.
Bill.
That's a
Bill was the man, dude.
masterpiece.
How did you not like Bill?
Yeah, but like that's
I
just
think everybody liked Bill. That was when the world was unified.
Franklin Roosevelt, 50 from 33
FDR.
to 45.
Well, that was the new age policy.
That's between
the New Deal.
33 to 45, right? So you're talking about the war, you're talking about the creation.
He actually literally created jobs. The New Deal was that was the Great Depression.
they put everybody to work.
But see, that's what I'm saying. FDR probably needs more recognition
Do you
than
know
the
what-
18. First of all, 15 million 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Right, but
when there was less people in the country,
and
less jobs
but
in the country.
the wealthiest people in the country were taxed at a higher rate.
Right. So FDR should be on the top of the
Right.
list because
but it's, you're only in the top. Yes.
well,
but
I'm going to tell you why. Because
look at the population increase.
Because he
also.
was bringing us out of the Depression, and he created jobs that didn't exist in the sense of people were home sitting on their asses, cleaning the parks. The New Deal was that, cleaning the parks, cleaning the highways, and creating money to pay them. And that's how that worked.
So Carter, from 77 to 81, created 9.8 million jobs.
Wow. Okay.
Nixon,
and he was like regarded as one of the worst presidents in history.
but which he was good at.
But this is all about creating jobs,
right.
so it's different. Okay.
Nixon, from 69 to 74, created 9.4 million jobs.
Another
and he's
bad
the guy who
president.
created the EPA. If it wasn't for that,
Well,
the
that's
other
true
stuff.
too. Nixon has a lot of good things he did, and people just shit all
Barack
over him.
Obama, from 09 to 17, 8.9 million jobs created.
Okay.
Lyndon B. Johnson, from 63 to 69, 8.6 million jobs created. Harry Truman, from 45 to 53, 7 million. So his predecessor made 15 million jobs.
Okay, but again, this is what I think that the misleading thing that we're bringing up here, or that you're bringing up.
I'm not misleading. How is that anything misleading?
Because what you're saying, creating jobs, right? Like I just said, FDR was it. You can't compare generational presidents. Creating jobs, like, so in other words, tech blew up one year. Maybe that's why Bill Clinton is first.
Yeah, but
Because-
tech isn't as
because
big as the way, I'm just saying.
When Bill Clinton was president, computers blew up.
Right, but now tech is everything.
The internet was developed when Bill Clinton was
but-
president.
okay.
So that's why he's the number one. That's my point. You can't blame.
But the whole point was that you were saying that in the top president
I didn't
ever
say.
created
I said
jobs.
no. I was talking about unemployment.
Okay, but this
I
is
said
jobs.
unemployment. That the way I measure jobs.
Hold on.
I told
but
you
that's not
unemployment.
how it. Yeah, but
I
that's
told
not
you
how,
unemployment before. That's what I said. I'm not talking about
Yeah,
about.
but that's what I said. So then, while I'm talking about jobs created, presidents who
Which I
created
agree
jobs.
with. This is phenomenal.
Okay.
That's a phenomenal thing.
Getting-
But you can't give them all the credit, is my point. Like Bill Clinton, if you're alive during a revolution of something, it's not like the Industrial Revolution.
Okay.
Jobs are going to be created.
Right.
Fucking factories, cars, this, that, the other. Jobs are going to be
But
created.
think about this. It just said how many jobs Reagan created, right?
Right.
Okay. So between Reagan, when he leaves and Bush becomes president and Clinton becomes president, is only 4 years.
Right.
So you take his first presidency.
So Bush created no jobs. That's what
No jobs.
Right.
Yeah. He created
He was a
nothing.
president for 8 years, though.
But see, here's the other thing about Reagan, though. Reagan created jobs in his first 4 years, but his second 4 years put us in a deficit that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Bush did nothing to get us out of that.
All I'm saying is I think that metric is probably like the equivalent. You're totally a baseball smart guy, so it's almost like batting average. Maybe even not as bad. Like it's not. I don't think you can hold a president to a really high regard based on jobs created. I'm saying you can hold them to a high regard, give them the credit, but not like that shouldn't be their. I don't know. Best achievement is the best word because, again, depending on your time and timing of life, timing is everything. In everything, it's in every. If you're an athlete and you're the how many great athletes in the world didn't become pros? You know what I'm saying? Timing is everything in life. In every aspect
right.
of life.
So you show up and things are good, and you
As
pull
a
a few
president-
pins out, and it gets better.
And I'm saying I'm not talking. And listen, I'm not sitting here trying to jerk anybody's off because I think all these presidents are they're basically puppets. But I think you have to measure it by unemployment. When the country is prosperous, when everybody's working, the jobs are already there and they're full. Like right now, there are jobs, millions and millions and millions of vacant jobs right now. Millions, dude. So you're not going to judge Joe Biden later on by jobs created, but you got to judge him by how many jobs are emptied. You know what the other thing? This Christmas,
his unemployment rates went down.
This Christmas was the high. Well, it has to go down. It can't go up. Nobody's.
Well, I'm
working.
just saying it would be at stagnant.
This Christmas
if
was
you
the
weren't-
highest, was the most expensive Christmas in history by like whatever it was, 30-something%. It was the highest inflation-wise. There was no product on the shelves. Gas was ridiculous, so people weren't going away.
But again, the reason. But there's a lot of reasons for this, and this
I'm-
is not
I'm-
just look. Biden is not a good president.
not-
I could see that.
No,
like you said.
but let me get my
But-
point. He's the guy in charge right now, so he's associated to it. That's my point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Did he do this? No. It was
The unfortunate situation in this, as we get to the end of this particular topic, the unfortunate situation is this: like everybody measures something different. So if you create jobs, but you have a low unemployment, and if you have a pandemic, and you figure out how to get out of it, and this guy does this, and that guy does this, and this guy blames that, and that guy blames that, and everything. And people pick sides. It won't matter what you look and find. You'll find the numbers that match to what you're looking for. You just find the
You
stuff
can
which-
make any argument fit your argument.
Yeah,
that's what
you
you're saying.
can.
You
You
can make
can.
any statistic fit your argument.
Like I could go in here and look, and I could
I
find.
agree 1,000,000,000% on that.
I could tell you, like I could
I
look
measure.
for the
You know how
worst
I measure
person.
shit? Quality of life, dude. Right now I'm paying more than I ever paid on
Yes,
gas.
but the unfortunate thing is when you look at the reasons of the inflation,
I spend
it's
about
not just
$125 more now. We go shopping at Trader Joe's. We get, we kind of know what we're getting. It's a shopping cart full of stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's about $100 and something more than it used to be.
but the thing about inflation though is that it's not because of one person. I know that you blame the
Highest
person.
percent of no. Listen, I'm not blaming person.
No, I'm not talking to
I'm blaming
you.
government.
I'm not talking to.
I'm blaming
I'm not
the government.
saying that you blame it. I'm saying
you know what? It is partly him because it's the actual government stopping all this shit right now. The fact that there's no, you know what Biden's problem was, and it's the Democratic Party, the extension of that last unemployment. Right when they took over, they gave everybody another basically year. That stops the growth. It stops. People aren't going back to work when you give them shit for free. It just doesn't.
I hear that all the
why
time,
Is
but
welfare,
they're-
why
I
is
hear-
welfare a problem? Don't. It's a fact, Mike.
But where is welfare?
Why
a
is
problem?
welfare is a problem to people that don't want to go to work because
Okay.
they're getting more money to stay home.
Right.
You
Okay.
got to give them a reason to go to work.
Where would you say that their welfare is the biggest problem?
For people that are lazy.
Okay.
Welfare should only be for people who absolutely need it. When a single mother cannot leave her house, the minute that kid goes to school, you go to fucking work.
Okay.
That's the same shit. But you know what the problem is? Common sense. Then I sound like I'm being irrational. No. You're not. You're a dreg to society. And it's not, I'm not trying to be insulting. It's a fact. When you don't contribute in anything in life, but you take, you're a dreg. Right? Is that accurate? So in other words, no, I'm serious. Like, so there's a community. Everybody chips in. One person doesn't chip in at all, but they take everything equal to everything else does. What are you considered? You're considered a drag. Now, fundamentally, we're going to go back to that word again. Welfare was created to keep everybody on the same level. When you're down on your luck, we're going to give you some money until you get a job. Shocking, folks. That's why welfare was created. So that when you're not down on your luck, you could go get a job. Tell me what welfare is right now. It's generational free money, bro. They have no intentions of getting a job. They have no intentions of going back out there and doing something because you're giving them shit for free.
Right.
And Biden is all, and that whole party is all about giving it away. And it doesn't work.
Well,
it doesn't work.
Well, you know where? You know what's funny? You know where it
the
works?
juice runs out
You
at
know
some
where?
point.
You know where it works? It works in Kentucky. It works in Indiana.
What do you mean it works?
It works in Kentucky because for 30 years that state has been the top poorest states in America.
It doesn't work.
And
if they're poor, it doesn't work.
The same guy running it is still
Are there
there.
starving children there?
Are they starving? No, because they have federal assistance, federal grants from McConnell.
It doesn't work then.
I'm saying it works is because they keep electing the same person in there. So some of these people.
Oh no, it works because they keep coming up with money.
They keep coming up with the federal money to put it back in there. That's why it works.
The money doesn't exist.
You go to Kentucky, and if you decide that you
that's
don't
why
want to,
that's why we're $75 trillion in deficit.
But-
because you just keep giving money to shit that doesn't
yeah,
exist.
but that's not the only reason.
I'm not saying it's the only reason.
We had heavy
I'm not saying it's
deficit
the only
for
reason.
going on
It's
there.
dude.
But
we
I
also throw school lunches and stuff. In this country, it's illegal to repurpose food. Do you know how much food gets thrown away in this country?
It's a waste. I think about it all the time. Every time I don't finish
this
something.
This is your the leadership. I don't care if it's a fucking Democrat or a Republican. Nobody has ever addressed the fact that we're throwing food away on the left hand, and we have starving people in this country on the right hand.
Okay, but here's something for you.
But fundamental.
Okay, but
how is that happening in 2021?
I know how it happened 3 years ago.
It's been happening for thousands of years.
When the last administration
people eat good, others starve.
They took away the money, the funding for school programs that fed students, okay? And when they asked a guy and he worked for Trump, they asked the guy why he took it away. He said, well, we looked into it.
I'm not talking about school programs.
Let me say, but the school lunches,
talking about the school lunches they throw in the garbage.
Listen to me, but hold on. I'm talking about a lot of that shit is not good.
He's not following, right, Mike?
Just listen to what we're
politics.
I know that, but this is what I just want to get to this.
We're not doing politics.
This
is about school lunches. It's not politics.
Look, they took away funding from it. So however they feed their kids, all right, they're digging into their own the school budget. They took away funding and after school programs from these schools. Public
I know
schools
that.
mostly.
I'm not Mike. I'm not. That's what I'm saying. You going back to the same thing. I'm talking about.
I'm not going. I'm just saying something. It's my show to say whatever the fuck I want to say. So I'm just saying.
But you're off topic. You could say whatever you want. You could say a fucking a unicorn farted a rainbow, and that has nothing to do with what we're talking about right now.
It does have.
All I said was a wasted food. You're talking about cutting budgets. I'm not talking about that.
Right. I'm
talking about they take food and throw it in the garbage, and there are people over here that are hungry. All they got to do is take that food and give it to the people that are hungry. It's not politics. Has zero to do with politics. I don't care if you're a Democrat.
It's shitty. It's shitty. First of all, it's shitty food.
That's all I'm saying. Not shitty food. It's the food they're giving your children in school.
I'm done.
They dump it in the garbage. This is a thing that's a real thing. It's a real thing. And some Scandinavian fucking doctor, whoever it was, they have a system in Sweden, wherever. Everything gets repurposed. So you're making sure the children have their food, and that you're not making food for 1,000 people when there's only 500, and then you're taking food for 500 and throwing it in the garbage. They have a way where, I don't know, maybe it's called counting the heads that you need to feed, whatever. We're not doing that here. That's all I'm saying. It has nothing to do with politics. It has nothing to do with politics. You're not feeding the hungry, and you're throwing food in the garbage. Simple. It's a joke. And it's leadership, dude. That shit, again, it has nothing to do with what you believe is who's right or wrong. It's common sense. Very simple. But things aren't. Common sense isn't that common. It's not. I wish it was. Maybe someday.
Yeah, so why don't you go back to telling a story when you, St. Michael's, the student that became the teacher, a friend that was a student and that became a teacher, and then they called you.
It was just occupation.
And then they called you up, and then what happened after that?
It was an occupational day to basically teach your journey, or not tell your journey, speak your journey to kids that have no idea. So like these, again, if I was in 8th grade or 9th grade or 10th grade and I heard somebody talking about how to go about, filling out applications for city jobs and stuff that we didn't learn. We had to learn that from the streets. We had to learn that from people who had jobs like that. So it was whatever. It was a very cool experience. It was, my nieces happened to be in that school, so it was a proud moment. All paths lead to here, so I was happy to share that journey.
Oh, that's cool. So they interviewed you?
She interviewed me, yeah. It was about 45 minutes or so.
Oh, nice. What was it about?
Just asking me my specific careers, what I did. It took a while to go through the TV production part because about the celebrities and stuff. And when I was a doorman holding the door for Michael Jackson, the kids like to hear that stuff. So I kind of went on that. But I went on the serious note of making sure you're happy in life and don't chase something that for the sake of other people. Money's not everything in the beginning, of your life. Live your life, enjoy your life, build a career, and the money's going to come when you're happy. I truly feel like as long as you're happy in your life and you work for yourself, and I don't mean like in business, I mean just you're working for you. You're not working for like the rat race. That was kind of my message, and then hopefully it got across. Who knows?
That was it?
I mean, that was the gist of the interview for the most part. That was one, I mean, there was a lot of questions.
Well, okay. So how did you feel being interviewed?
It was cool. It was a very proud moment. So my son was like, I got divorced when my son was in school, so it never came up with him. Plus, I think, he was younger. The fact that my nieces are seniors in high school, it was kind of like age appropriate to the interview. Plus, their teacher Julie is a friend again, and an old classmate, so we know each other well.
Oh, that's cool.
The McCrorys from Bell, Eileen and Mike. They're up on Bell, and you know them.
Maybe.
So yeah, so it was very cool. It was a comfortable interview because I know her. I don't know how. Like I've never been interviewed, but that was the first time I was interviewed, so it was cool.
Good. That's awesome. That should it should feel good.
Yeah, it was definitely cool.
So looking at this now, this chart, coming up, you have the Hall of Fame ballots, right? And so they changed the baseball Hall of Fame.
I was going to say baseball.
While they're through the lockout and all this, and it used to be 15 years you could stay on the ballot, right? And guy like Jim Rice gives at the end in the 15th year he gets in there, and you look at the numbers, and so they were saying like 500 home runs was the benchmark, 300 wins as a pitcher was the benchmark, and then there's guys in between that get in at the end of the career. And then you have all the steroid era, and like the questions are, do they belong? So now they lowered the level from 15 years, it's 10 years. So there are guys coming up in their final year for the Hall of Fame. And so Curt Schilling, Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens, and Sammy Sosa are in their 10th and final year. Now, other guys on this list who have credibility: Scott Rowland, Omar Vizquel, Billy Wagner, Todd Helton, Gary Sheffield, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent, Manny Ramirez, Andy Pettit. I don't think he deserves to go in, but he's still, Andy Pettit, Bobby Abreu, and then after that it goes down to first-timers. Now these are second, third, fourth, and there's a bunch of other names. Now the first-timers
the first list was the guys that last.
Well,
chance,
no, this
right?
is so if I go down the whole thing, you go from second, fourth, and fifth, sixth, and 10th, right?
Right.
So the rest of the guys on there are Andy Pettit, Mark Burley, Torrey Hunter, Bobby Abreu, Tim Hudson, right? Those are guys. Some of those guys, they're just there. They had good numbers, but they're not.
Right.
Bobby
Bobby
Abreu's border.
Right. He's a borderline. I think Tim Hudson might be border too. I don't know without his numbers like jumping
like
out
a three. He's like I think like
he was dominant.
I think it was like 305, but he was a defensive genius and all that.
Yeah.
Omar Vizquel played till he was 44 years old. Okay, he's got 2,800 hits.
I don't look at Vizquel as a Hall of Fame.
Okay, so
Scott Rowland is not a Hall of Fame.
You sure?
Yeah, his numbers don't do it to me.
Okay, but he was Gold Glove. Like you couldn't hit anything.
I know.
Past
No,
him.
I know that.
You couldn't hit anything past him.
He was the best defensive third baseman of his generation, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
Okay, so of those,
he misses the mark on every offensive.
So look at Todd Helton, right? Todd Helton had good numbers
now.
Outside of Coors Field, right? Forget about where you play, but on the road he had really good numbers.
Right.
He, when you look at it, he has these borderline numbers that would be like you can consider a guy for all of them.
Right.
Now,
he's so good, man.
Jeff Kent and his inflated number. Andrew Jones.
See, Todd Helton. Let me go back to him real quick. I don't know how you think. Like, obviously you look at the numbers at the end of the day, but I like to know that the guy dominated. You know what I mean?
All right. So
there was never really a time where Scott Rowland was the best. He was the greatest. He was the best defensive third baseman in baseball. He was never the best. Todd Helton was the best center fielder in baseball for a little bit.
Rowland's
between
numbers:
him and Larry Walker and Andrew Jones, they
2,000 hits, 316 home runs, 1,287 RBIs. Just the basic. We'll just go with the basic numbers.
Yeah, not Hall of Fame.
Okay. So Todd Helton, right?
Yep.
Todd Helton sits over here with 2,500 hits, 369 home runs, and 1,406
Better,
RBIs.
and better. So he's closer, but he's still not a Hall of Famer.
Right. So these are just like if you
Yeah,
go by
he's
numbers.
closer than Roland.
If you go by
And
numbers.
again, so you know what? That makes it's good because I felt like he was closer than Roland, but he's still he don't have the numbers.
So Bobby Abreu, right?
Abreu's close.
2,470, 288 home runs, 1,363.
His home
This
runs
is
are
not
low.
counting his stolen bases, which he's got
Yeah,
400.
no, Abreu was a 5-tool
walks.
guy.
He's a good defense.
5 tools.
Now, here's a couple of first-time
Pelton was
ballots.
5 tools.
Here's the first-time ballot guys, right? So you have Alex Rodriguez,
In.
David Ortiz,
In.
Mark Teixeira,
In.
Jimmy Rollins.
No, Teixeira?
Yeah.
What's Teixeira's numbers?
Teixeira's numbers are 409, 1298 with 1,800 hits.
I don't think he's in.
All right, so
No Teixeira.
Jimmy Rollins.
Not, I don't think. He's definitely not in. Jimmy Rollins? No, he's not in.
Justin Morneau.
No.
Catcher and a first baseman, gold gloves,
No.
batting titles.
No.
Prince Fielder.
No.
Joe Nathan, Tim Lincecum,
Nope.
Papelbon,
Nope.
AJ Purnett,
Nope.
Ryan Howard. Those last 4 years were awful. Last 4 years were
he
awful.
he played a little too long, and he's got to be close to 500 home runs. He's got like
close to
450,
500?
450.
382.
Oh no, he's no, not even close. Nope.
382.
Nope.
So you're on the bet. Like
All the steroid guys are in. That's it.
So if they give you the vote, right? They say,
Yeah.
like, and you get to pick 10 guys on this ballot.
Yeah.
Of all those names, and there's others that I didn't read.
Right.
Of all those names, you get to pick 10 guys.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who they are. You have the vote. So a lot of guys, this is the reason why some guys get mad at other guys. Like the media has expanded. If it used to be 200, now it's 500
Right.
people. Okay? And that's
So
why
many
more
more.
people, so many
Too many
more.
cooks in the kitchen.
So going back to one thing that goes back a few years, unrelated, it was football. It was Chris Russo, the Mad Dog.
Yep. Love
All right. So he was on a show with Mel Kiper Jr., and they were talking about a Heisman Trophy winner. And Chris Winkie, remember him from the
Winkie, yeah.
right? So at Florida State, he went to baseball, but still had his eligibility. Went back to college, went to Florida State.
Kyler Murray's going to do that.
Right?
After
Yeah.
that ass whooping he got.
So he's there, and they asked him, "Who were you voting for?" And he was like, and Winkie was the best quarterback, one of the top 2 quarterbacks in there, and he was like, "No way that I vote for Winkie." And Mel Kiper was like, "Why not?" Because he's 28. And Kiper went, "What?" And he goes, "He's 28 years old. There's no way I'm voting for the Heisman for a 28-year-old." And Kiper was like, "You're the reason not everybody should have a vote for this. You're the reason." And you just see he was just sitting there like this, like dumbfounded that said that. So that being said, you have 10. There's a list of guys here.
Okay.
You have 10 votes.
Right.
You have the list of these guys that Manny Ramirez, David Ortiz, Bonds, Clemens,
All of those guys are in.
Sheffield, Andrew Jones, Jeff Kent. These are guys that are accused of like inflated
I don't
numbers.
know if Jeff Kent. I don't know if Jeff Kent has Hall
Now,
of Fame numbers.
second base. If you go by position, it's different.
Okay, give me.
So Jeff Kent's numbers as a second baseman,
Yeah.
he had 2,200 hits. Oh, sorry, that's the games. He had 2,400 hits.
Okay, that's good.
377 home runs,
Yeah.
and 1,500 RBIs.
Still don't think that's
He
good.
had a 6-year
As a s-
window where he was the best second baseman and an MVP.
No, listen, you know what? He dominated the shit out of the game, man.
Right. Now, these are inflated
He
numbers
really
because
did
of
dominate.
the
He dominated, dude. He was the best second baseman in the game. He really was.
Now, guys that are in the Hall of
He
Fame,
kind of like when
His numbers are better
after
than-
Alomar. He was the guy.
his numbers are better than Joe Morgan and Ryan Sandberg.
Yeah, it's true.
You know, and those are just two
well,
guys.
listen, I don't think Joe Morgan belongs in there. So, you know what? I would say Kent is a Hall of Famer because of his position, and he dominated 6 years, 7 years of the best.
Now,
He was the
Ozzie
best.
Smith is
and
in
he
there.
hit a ton of home runs in that time.
Right.
In 5 years, he hit all those home runs. It was
Yeah,
crazy.
so-
steroids, but I don't have a problem with steroids.
Ozzie Smith steroids.
I don't have a problem with it. I really don't.
So Ozzie Smith had Ozzie Smith. My sweaty balls. Ozzie Smith was a 300 hitter, defensive whiz. I don't know if he had the 300 hits,
Light bat.
but they were like he did so much on the field.
Deserved it.
Right? If you look at Omar Vizquel,
I think that when you're a
has
wizard
done
like that,
Omar Vizquel is a wizard.
I
Is a
think-
wizard
I see where
defensively.
you're going.
He never has to touch the. They don't.
I see where you're going with that.
He's a wizard at what he did. Okay, he played every position, and when he played short, those teams that he played short on.
You know what? Then I think Omar Vizquel becomes one of those guys that you let the players vote in. You know how you get those guys that they don't get voted in by.
Well, that's how Gil Hodges got in.
Yeah, and listen, it'll happen.
Gil Hodges should have gone in this.
Gil Hodges should have went in. And I don't think it should be that. First of all, let me say this: writers should not be voting for the Hall of Fame. I don't care.
You think players should vote for it?
Absolutely. Hall of Famers.
Do you know a lot of players?
Not players.
In a couple
Hall of Famers.
A couple of
there's a lot of them alive.
Yes, but there's not a lot of so if you set the bar, let's say you need 75% of the votes, and you say that's like 1,000 votes, right? Well,
you don't need 1,000. That's the point. I think you need. It was talked about it. I think you need 300.
It's 300, right?
But there's like 700.
But there's
alive.
There's a minimum number.
I think
right?
something.
So if you sit and you look at it and you're saying because I could find I can't think of the name of Dick Allen.
No,
he has got these.
700. That's a good question. How many are alive? Let's find out how many Hall of Famers are currently alive.
Dick Allen he played for Philadelphia mostly.
Yes,
and he's got these such borderline numbers, but he was a beast. Not only did he look good in the 70s and the 80s, he looked like a baseball superstar. But he's just borderline. Like there's the 300 home runs and the 1,200 RBIs and the stellar defense and the toughness that came with it.
But he's a media fan.
Right.
They
But
love him.
Eddie Murray gets into the Hall of Fame, 500 plus home runs, 3,000 plus hits, and he didn't smile. He didn't talk to anybody. He hated the media. He didn't like to sign autographs.
You don't have to.
Right. But they went by the merit of numbers alone.
But you couldn't deny Eddie Murray. You couldn't deny that guy. That guy owned baseball.
Right, that's what I'm saying. You can't, he's so, he was such Barry Bonds.
They shit on Jim Rice forever. Listen.
Barry Bonds
if you don't think Barry Bonds is a Hall of Famer, then you have no business writing for baseball. Stop with the steroids already. Stop. Who cares? Pitchers were doing it. Hitters were doing it. And, who knows what percentage of the league was doing it at one time? Who cares at this point?
74 living Hall of Famers.
74. I said 700. 74. So
because some got a couple of years.
That's a good amount of guys to vote.
So if you gave 74 guys a ballot.
A chance to vote of say 4 guys a year. That's a good amount of numbers, dude.
It's got to be more than that, though.
No? Yeah.
There's got to be more people to vote on that.
All right. So maybe you add the best announcers in the game.
Well, again, how do you rate the best announcer?
I don't know.
Because if you listen,
I just hate writers, dude. Writers are full of shit, dude. Reporters are liars. So you're giving authority and power to liars. Reliable sources say that Mike Piazza and Sam Champion are having butt sex.
I need to have a press conference to say that I have not in a relationship
because of a bullshit rumor that a writer made up.
But let's say Gary Carter and Mike Piazza.
Yeah.
They didn't get in the first. They didn't get in the second. I think Carter got in his third and Piazza was fourth or fifth, right?
I think Piazza was third too.
But Pudge Rodriguez gets in. I think his first time ballot. He gets in there. But again, he's also the inflated steroid. No. Steroids. So he gets in because the numbers are phenomenal. The rings and the stuff that he did. Yeah. The stuff that he did is phenomenal.
Mark McGwire. Mark McGwire did.
It's not even on the ballot anymore. Yeah, but he's. Say it again.
Andrew Steen Dione.
Andrew Steen Dione. Andrew Steen Dione sounds like somebody that he's a painter. And it's did you get an Andrew Steen Dione?
You want to have a good time
You
tonight?
checking all the names right now?
Yeah.
You want to have a good time
How
tonight?
about Joey Lipscomb?
Lipscomb.
Yeah.
Joey
Lipscomb.
Pulling out some random names. His name's Linscomb.
Linscomb.
Yeah, check it.
Not Lipscomb.
Not Joey. Tim Linscomb.
Tim Linscomb.
Tim
Linscomb.
Linscomb.
Timothy Linscomb.
Also, Jocko Johnson.
Jocko
Johnson.
Who's
What game is this? What is this, the Porn Hall of Fame?
Jocko Johnson? He's a Hall of Famer.
He's the guy that was in Debbie Does Dallas.
They announced him at the Porn
AVN Awards.
AVN Awards in Vegas. Jocko Johnson. He said Lipscomb.
Lipscomb.
That's what I get that.
Lipscomb. Another one of the
And
AVN Hall of
and
Fame.
we're sitting here going, no, you're
It's
talking
Tim.
about Tin Lipscomb.
Nah, he was talking about the AVN Hall of Fame. You could use all the steroids you want, man.
Yeah, that was a great little break interlude. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for keeping us funny, Mike.
What I gotta say is
I
like
guess we were getting bored. Boring.
we were getting boring. It was getting boring.
We were getting boring.
You know,
yeah,
like-
but fuck the writers. They shouldn't vote.
but see
They-
that. But then
they
who else do
shouldn't
you
vote.
give it to? Who else do you give it to? Because look, in media, right? Let's just
I
say
give it to peers then.
Let's just say we're the media.
After current Hall of Famers, I give it to
I wouldn't give current ball.
not ball players, coaches, scouts, owners.
So to get a major league pension,
Owners should probably get a say.
No owners. No
Why
owners.
not, dude?
Because Cohen would vote for all Mets, nothing else.
No, come
Here's
on.
what I
dude.
said. Listen what I said.
If you're a multi-billionaire that owns a baseball team, you got to be.
There's only a couple of multi.
You're probably more reasonable. What do you mean? Every baseball owner and every
Their team is worth. Not everyone was when it was a
They're all
billionaire
billion.
when they bought it. Not everyone was a billionaire when they bought it.
I'm not saying when they bought it. I'm talking about right now. They're all billionaires.
Valued wise, yes, but not. You know who the two?
You don't think they're all billionaires?
the two richest? I don't know.
I bet you can't find me one. It's not. I'm telling you, they
Okay, but
they're
you
all
know
billionaires.
who the two
'Cause
richest are?
you don't own a multi-billion.
previously,
company by yourself.
previously to the Dodgers being sold to the team that with the Magic Johnson and that squad.
Yeah.
One of the richest owners in baseball was the guy who owns the Nationals. He's like a multi-billionaire, and he wanted to prove that he could. He did. He wanted to prove it, and his son was the GM and wanted to prove that he was a baseball mind, and they did win. So, okay, billionaires can do it, but that's not the point. So here's what I think. So if you have guys that say like to get a full pension in Major League Baseball, you need 10 years of service,
Right.
right? Wouldn't those be the guys that you choose, that they were in the union, they have 10 years of service, they retired with a pension? Wouldn't you select guys that would want to be on the ballot to pick the guys for the ballot that are on the ballot? You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have a pension.
No, I get it.
It's different in football, hockey, the pension, because the guys.
So you're
don't last
saying
as long.
give the guys that have a pension. You know what the problem is, though?
Because if you're going to go with players to vote on it.
First of all, I trust players before I trust reporters.
All right. But
So
if you're going to go with players.
I think any plan for players to vote before writers, yeah, I'm with it. I think that peers should be voting, not people who make money on writing about you. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. I just think there's a conflict of interest. I think that, like, again, you got guys that weren't really popular with the fans and, they got shit on all the time. And then you got guys that, like, not popular with the reporters. You got, not popular with the press and they got shit on all the time. And then you got guys that were, like, sweethearts of the press and they get a free pass.
Well, look at
like David Ortiz is probably going to make the Hall of Fame.
Deserve it?
David Ortiz was on the report as one of the dirty players.
Well, so what happened
Like
was
he was like, it was like leaked that he was legitimately a cheater.
no.
And-
Yeah. So what happened was there was a list of
and
100.
he's going to get in.
There's a list of 140 guys.
That to me is bullshit.
There's a list of 140 guys that failed the steroid test, right? But it was supposed to be secret. And one of the guys that were in charge of it was a guy. One of the committee was selected from Boston. At that time, I forgot what management position, but they say because do you remember the interview where I forgot the woman's name. She worked for Sports Illustrated, and she called out Alex Rodriguez. It was like, oh, it's like you failed the drug test. And he was like, no, I didn't. They go, yeah, it does. You're one of those. It was supposed to be sealed. Somebody leaked that it was Alex Rodriguez. And so someone said, if you're going to leak, the Yankee fan, if you're going to leak Alex Rodriguez,
Leak 'em all.
Leak them all. And it's like, don't tell me about Manny Ramirez because he failed it.
he
David
wasn't-
Ortiz failed it. There was like, so if you're going to
A
go
lot
Alex
of them.
Rodriguez,
There was like-
it's 140 names that
Right.
failed this drug
Yeah,
test.
but there was 22 current at the time.
Well, yeah, but I mean, so when Jose Canseco was like, oh, let me tell you exactly, before Jose Canseco, Dave Kingman was the only guy with the most home runs not in the Hall of Fame. He had 442 or something like that. Okay. And he was not the deadliest guy at any point. he had some really, really good years, but to believe that this guy
And he played 20 years.
right,
or
but
whatever it was.
but he was only 35 when he retired, going on 36.
Yeah, but he started. All right, so whatever. He played 15 years. Whatever.
so
it
he was the guy who had the most home
He had
runs.
a lot of home runs. He had 40
Previously,
home runs a year.
right, but previous to Jose Canseco, he was the guy with the most home runs, and he was a skinny guy, so you would never accuse him of it.
Tall, though. He's like 6'6".
Yeah,
right?
but they'd call him Big Bird.
Did he really hit 442 home runs?
Yeah, or
Holy
440,
shit,
420, something
I
like
didn't
that.
know that.
Yeah, so before Canseco,
Fuck, that's a lot of home runs.
he was the guy with the most home runs not in the Hall of Fame, right? Like
What
in
did
that.
Canseco have?
Canseco might have had,
I didn't even think Canseco was in that.
I
area.
think,
I thought he was in
I
the
think he had
300.
460,
Oh my god, dude.
something like that. I got to look up the
Really?
exact numbers.
See, Canseco, I don't think Canseco played that long either.
He played late.
I mean, he did. He played a long time, but listen, to hit 500 home runs, you got to hit 20 home runs to 25 years.
right.
That's a lot.
Canseco was hitting home runs off his own
Yeah,
head
but-
outside of
Yeah,
stadiums.
bouncing them off. That's a show. He got an assist. That's it. But so Canseco played. So Canseco hit 30 home runs for 15 years.
Yeah.
Fuck, man. You know what? Canseco's listen. There is no debating how crazy that Oakland team was.
No.
They were.
But even the guys
They
that
were
you don't
filthy.
right? But when you take away Canseco and McGuire,
They were so good.
but you had
Ricky Henderson. They had fucking.
you had in center field you had Dave Henderson,
Dave
who had a surgeons at that time.
Monster.
I forgot who was at third.
Their shortstop was
Walt Weiss.
Walt Weiss. That guy. You know what? Listen, you're talking about a prototypical shortstop. Made every single play, and he got on base. He was a prototypical number 2. What are you looking at? What do you got? The home runs there?
Yeah, some of them, but this is just, it's not the, it's because you got like the Frank Thomas, the Rafael Palmeiro, who's got 569.
Frank Thomas, probably the most underrated baseball player that we never talk
521
about.
home runs.
Nobody ever talks about Frank Thomas. The best player in the 2000s. Oh, no, not the 2000s, the 90s. From 1990 to 2000, he was the best player. By far.
The big hurt.
Not even close. Never, ever, ever, ever talked about. Not enough. He should be talked about like we talk about, any of the greats, like Bonds, or he's just as good as those guys. Well, maybe not Bonds, but, those guys. Ken Griffey, he doesn't get talked about as much as Ken Griffey Jr.
No, and
I love Griffey, but I mean, these guys are all monsters.
where you going? You got to go pee. Yeah. So, I mean, I think that the hardest part about it is like when you look at the numbers and you're trying to judge it, it's like, Sammy Sosa's got over 600 home runs. Rafael Palmeiro's got 569. Shoot, hold on one second. I hate the word You look down here and you got Fred McGriff's got 493. Delgado's got 473. Jose Canseco has 462 home runs. Dave Kingman's got 442, so my numbers were accurate. Giambi's got 440. And these are guys that are not in there. Adam Dunn has got 462. I already said Carlos Delgado's got 473. Adrian Beltre's got 477. Jesus. I mean, just the numbers I'm just yelling at. Anybody that's listening tonight was probably like, the politics drew me off, all that craziness, all that yelling, and then we jumped into baseball, and I still don't know what the fuck they're talking about. I mean, I'd like to give you more.
Well, you're off?
So, yeah. So, did you hear me scream out the numbers?
I heard you, but I was like,
Well, the 440 and the
my
460.
pee was a little bit louder.
The 442, Kingman. The
Yep.
462, Canseco.
Yep.
The 473, Carlos Delgado.
Yeah. Wow.
493, Fred McGriff. And 477, Adrian Beltre.
Wow.
That's how, that's just,
I see. I would never think of Delgado as a Hall of Famer. And he's close, man. He's knocking on it. What is Delgado's RBIs like? He's got to have 2,500 hits, I would imagine. Because he was a hit machine. That guy used to hit the whole shit out of the ball.
all right, well, let's see. Carlos Delgado. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. 2,000 hits, 2,038, 473 home runs, 1,500 RBIs, and he only played for 3 teams. He's a 2-time All-Star, 3-time Silver Slugger, and Senor, that is it. He had 4 home runs in 1 game. And a Baseball Hall of Fame induction in 2015. All right?
Well, he's definitely a Met Hall of Famer because he helped us get to a spot, and he hit about 200 home runs with the Mets, I would think, right?
I would say so because he
was around for a while.
let's say because if you look at it, right? He played for the Mets from 6 to 9.
6 to 9. So he had about
let's say he averaged 30.
He had about 100 home runs.
Let's say he averaged 30.
He had 90 home
Okay.
runs. With us.
All that with Toronto. But okay.
Oh, he was a beast in Toronto. Yeah, he was a beast.
Is there any place, any stadium that you want to visit?
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I want to see Fenway. I want to see Wrigley. I want to see, the regulars that everybody else wants to go to. Three Rivers or whatever they call it now, Pittsburgh, that I know you went to. PNC. I want to go there.
You know what's crazy about that? Like, you're right on the water. So when you walk around the stadium, it's right on the water, and you look up and you see, like, people have hit home runs out of the stadium into the water there.
Yeah.
There are boats, houseboats, and like casual, like people pull up and they go and they sit and they're listening to the crowd.
Like in San Fran.
Yeah, but they're not in the like, they're not swimming in the river.
They jump in after, right?
But they're like just hanging out. Like, so we were walking by and you go around, you go up the stadium, and you go inside, and when you get in there, it's different. It's like it's built incomplete and low, and not as high as they used to be.
I was in Baltimore this past year, and I loved it.
That's the original model of the modern
Love
stadium.
That stadium. Chavez Ravine, I want to go. Definitely want to see that. San Fran, I want to see. San Diego, I want to see. So I mean, the goal is to see them all.
That would be something.
Yeah.
I mean, I know like
I'm thinking a couple next year. I want to do a couple next year.
I know that like realistically, like big
I didn't
shout
go
to
to
those
Boston
guys
this year.
at the 7 line who did the travel, and it was like
I was literally just texting Darren right now.
it was like I went to Pittsburgh and I mean the drive out there is amazing. It's beautiful. You're driving up and through these mountains, and it's just you feel so small
when you get into that part of
well,
Pennsylvania.
yeah, for the last 2 hours you drive, 2-3 hours.
The first 3 hours is fucking
awful. But
garbage.
You seem this
Route 80,
small.
it's boring as
you
hell.
seem this small as you're driving, and it's a little car, and you look at the road. The road is carved out of the mountain.
No, yeah.
You're driving through a mountain. It's just trees and all this amazing.
I heard Pittsburgh's gorgeous.
It's absolutely it's amazing, and it's only this big. But it was like, like then you go see like a minor league game. Like I went to Jersey, and I saw in Somerset. I went to see a game, and the Independent League, they took over the old Yankee Stadium at Staten Island. And Edgardo Alfonso, I think is going to be the manager of that new independent team because the Yankees disown that. Mm-hmm. So now it'll be worth going to.
I mean, I wish.
You've been to Coney Island, right?
Coney, yeah. I wish Fonzie was would have gotten picked up by the Mets, to be honest with you, because I mean, listen, the guy's a good dude.
He was a manager at Brooklyn for a while.
Yeah, I know him personally, and he's a good guy. My son played baseball with his kid, and he's just a good guy. A couple of different connections I have with him, and he's just all around really solid dude. But he's a baseball great. We could argue that he's a Met Hall of Famer.
Met Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's not.
He's a baseball great, though. He's got over 2,000 hits. He's a great baseball player.
Okay.
Or maybe not. But look at him because he was a late bloomer. But he was a great player. He had 200 hits a year for a long time. And he's an all-time Met great. But he took the Cyclones to a championship. He won the championship.
I'm going to give you his
basic. And then got fired.
I'm going to give you his basic numbers. So, I don't have his hit totals.
So Brody fired him after he won the championship as a manager.
Brody, we know already.
But they didn't. But this is my thing. That happened, and he's an all-time great as a Met.
So these are the basic numbers: 284 average, 146 homers, and 744 RBIs.
Good numbers, dude. You don't think those are good numbers for a second baseman?
But to give an example, like if you look at Ryan Sandberg, right?
But how many years is that? Ryan Sandberg played with the Cubs for 20 years.
He played from 95 to 2006.
Okay, so that's 9 years.
Okay. That's at the end of his career, his back
10 years.
That's his back. His back had given out for the last couple of years that he was playing.
Right, and he wasn't a home run hitter.
No,
so but I bet you he has 2,000 hits.
Let's see.
I bet you he has 2,000 hits. He's close. In 10 years, he's got to have 2,000 hits. He was a monster.
Do you know what it is to have 2,000 hits?
No, I know it takes a lot.
But
he was a 200 hitter. When Jeter was hitting 200, getting 200 hits for the Yankees, Alfonso was getting 200 hits for the Mets. If he's not at 200, he's at like 1,800, 1,700. He's close. And I'm not saying he's a baseball Hall of Famer, but he's definitely a Met Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I think
he's the best second baseman the Mets ever had. 1,000%.
I believe that he is a Mets Hall of Famer.
They should definitely put him in the Met Ring of Honor or whatever the frick they call it.
The Ring of Honor. So hit total is 1,532.
All right, 1,500, not 200. No,
yeah.
2,000.
Well, listen, it's not like
that's 3 years short.
That's 1,532 more hits than I have in the major league level.
No, but that's 3 years short of that's a lot. 1,500 hits in. All right, so do it this way.
So 1,500 hits between
10 years is 50. It's 150 hits a year.
Okay,
it's a lot of hits.
All right, yes, but it's not. It's Met Hall of Fame numbers. It's not.
No, I never said he was baseball Hall of Famer.
It's not
but
baseball.
Very good baseball player. I think he was a great I think he was a great hitter. He was a great hitter. He was always around that 300 number. And I'll tell you right now, like you talk about Jeter. Look at Jeter's overall number. You want to this is why I think numbers are just kind of misconceived. They could be misconceived.
They would miss what?
They could be misconceived because Jeter, we all know, is a great, great, great player. Hall of Famer, just phenomenal, right?
Right.
He never dominated that position. Never. Even his MVP year. Wasn't the best shortstop in the baseball. It wasn't. Yankee fan, diehard, not. It's true, okay? He was never at any point the best shortstop in baseball. Not as long as Alex Rodriguez was playing. And most of the time when Nomar was playing. That's just a fact, okay? But look at his numbers over 20 years. He has the numbers as far as hits, and he has the numbers because his hits are ridiculous. He's at almost at 4,000 hits. What do you know Derek Jeter for? What do you remember Derek Jeter most for? If you think about Derek Jeter,
Other than the Oakland
you don't
toss.
think about his fourth.
Other than the Oakland toss,
right? Yeah. The toss. You think about Derek Jeter as being clutch. You think about Derek Jeter as being
every time something needed to be done, he was there.
That's it, and that's why Derek Jeter is an all-time.
So here, a 310 average.
Derek Jeter's numbers are not aside from the hits.
3,400 hits, 260 home runs, 1,300 RBIs.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. Now. The MVP year, he was not an MVP. Oh, did he win the MVP that year? I don't even think he did.
Well,
did he win one? I think he might have, but he wasn't an MVP.
No, he was
never an MVP.
He had the World Series MVP against the Mets.
Yeah, I don't think he was.
He
an
was
MVP
the rookie.
player.
He wasn't an MVP.
Or maybe he was second in voting. He was second in voting 2 or 3 times.
He's rookie of the year, 5 Gold Gloves, 14-time All-Star, 5 World Series rings.
Yes, he has 5 Gold Gloves, which I was surprised.
5 Silver Sluggers.
I was surprised about the 5 Gold Gloves.
Yeah, because he was a high era guy.
He was a high era guy.
He was a 25 plus.
But he got voted Gold Gloves. Who knows? Who knows why? And he played a lot of with Vizquel. I was very surprised about the Gold Gloves because he played with A-Rod and he played with Vizquel, and they were both defensively better.
And look,
not even close.
A-Rod was a better all-around shortstop, and he decided to play third.
For Jeter.
It was because you're not going to move him.
Because A-Rod's a better guy than Jeter.
A-Rod's not a good guy.
He was a good guy.
He's not a good guy.
Why not?
There's nothing anybody has ever said nice or good about Derek Jeter, about Alex Rodriguez.
Who said anything nice about Derek Jeter?
I heard that he gives his goodbye girls a great package.
That's all. He was only good to his girls. Because he was terrible to the staff.
Yeah, but I heard he gave all his girls a great goodbye package, a nice little basket with Blistex.
At least A-Rod says hello and goodbye to the parking attendant.
Well, he has to now because nobody.
Yeah, Derek Jeter gave the same gift to the girl twice. I mean,
one girl he forgot that he gave her the goodbye gift, and so
he gave her the same gift.
And
twice?
I think the other one was herpes. I think one of them was herpes that he gives out.
He gave her herpes twice.
He gave it to Mariah Carey.
Good
Mariah Carey gave it to Eminem.
Oh, that was the funniest.
Eminem gave it to.
So basically, Derek Jeter gave Eminem herpes.
Basically, and whoever Eminem gave it to.
Ah, that was great.
Yeah.
And did he write a rap about that shit or something stupid?
Yeah. Well, also about Mariah Carey. It was
my
like, don't
God.
call me out.
I just love celebrity nonsense. It's so funny. Derek Jeter gave Mariah Carey herpes. Or we said that on our podcast.
We said that already.
Yeah. Sorry, we're regurgitating stuff because we forgot.
So anyway, so when it comes to these guys, right? The accomplishments of everything, right? We can skip past that. I do have some questions though.
Butt plug.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Why do we have two Dakotas? Why do we have South Dakota and North Dakota?
have
Do you
no
know what
idea.
they do? Do you know what they produce in the Dakotas?
Stupid.
Agriculture, right?
You know.
It's a lot of farms, a lot of grain,
You want one big Dakota, Mike?
But why do we have two?
I don't know.
I don't think we need two.
Do you
I think
want-
we need one.
Would you like one big Dakota?
I would just say one big
Is
Dakota.
that at the top of the list of things you want done?
No, but you know what? If I became president, the first thing
you
I
want
would do is
one Dakota.
One Dakota.
Right.
I'm okay with two
I mean, listen,
Carolinas.
it's
I'm
legit.
okay with two Carolinas. The reason why. South Carolina's got a lot to offer. It's got culture, it's got food, it's got everything. North Carolina just has schools and nothing, right? So so that one has something to look at and be like, oh, you're better than me. I appreciate
So
you.
you want one to be better than the other?
Yeah, but if they're not, then
But
I
don't
don't.
we already have that with Virginia and West Virginia?
Yeah, so we have the Carolina, but we
So
have the Carolinas.
Why don't you take your shit out on West Virginia? Who the hell are they? There's no East Virginia. Why are you West Virginia?
Well, because it's just
Why can't-
because they got to be West. It's got to be West.
So stupid.
Yes, but we have two Carolinas, and there's a reason why we have two Carolinas. Have you seen North
No,
Carolina?
I'll tell you why we have two Dakotas, two Carolinas, and two Virginias.
Why?
Let me tell you why.
Why?
Because they got lazy and they forgot to come up with names.
I mean, I think they could
It's
have come up
just
with something.
stupid. You
Like-
could have easily come up
Well,
with different
but
names.
North Carolina and South Carolina have
sounds cool though. And Dakota kind of sounds cool. Virginia?
Yes, but
Eh.
Dakota sounds cool as a first name.
I think of Virginia, I think of ham. I don't know why. And white trash. Those are the two things I think
well,
of.
then you've been to North Carolina.
I've been to Virginia. You haven't been to Virginia.
No, but North Carolina's.
Virginia's some seriously shit.
Once you
like
get
crazy
after-
shit,
once
dude.
you get after
North
the school-
Carolina is almost like rich Virginians.
Once you get out of the schools,
up, dude.
after you leave the schools, North Carolina doesn't have anything to offer.
Yeah, you don't want no part of Virginia. Trust me. Yeah, North Carolina is like the Hamptons of Virginia.
It's a downgrade, but an upgrade in the
it's
same
like-
breath.
Yeah, for sure, man. Yeah, Charlotte, and then you got everything else beautiful.
Like
Smoky Mountains.
Charlotte's
bro.
got like 6 blocks.
Virginia, you got a bunch of uncle fuckers. You got people that don't have.
What's the
cell
mountain
phone
range in the
service.
Virginias? Your cell phone. You got to go to the road. You got to run to the road to get cell phone
Go to
service.
the mailbox to get
He,
cell phone service.
he flips open the phone. He's like, "I got it, Pa. I
No,
got
it's
it."
bad, bro. It's bad. It's
Yeah. Well, I have not.
When you go to
Virginia.
when you go to Hallmark and they have cards that say "Happy Birthday, Uncle Dad," big problem.
Cousin, uncle, dad.
Big Happy Birthday, Uncle Dad. Big walk away.
Yeah. Well, roadkill is dinner.
Don't get the double cheeseburger from Checkers in that town.
Yeah. Well, I was always confused at why we had two Dakotas.
Uncle Dads.
Cousin, uncle, dad.
Uncle Dads, because of family fuckers. Oh yeah, Dakotas. I don't know. That's a good question.
But
why the states got shapes is a show on
yeah. Well,
National Geographic. That probably will explain why.
So they were supposed to be the Dakota.
You know, it's funny. You have Google right in front of you.
Well, I was just
we're sitting here trying to figure it out and guess, but butt plug.
But yeah, why?
Oh, look, we have the answer in 5 seconds. Isn't it nice living in
It's like
2022?
it's to regional differences in trade routes. And the population size is two main factors: those differences and the addition of some territorial government politics. And
So
that's
no
where
real good answer.
no good real answer. So it's supposed to be the Dakota territories,
Right.
And
That's what it was.
And it became it became Republican.
Republic, right.
And then they split it, and both of them.
Yeah, but back when Republicans were Democrats, or when Democrats were Republicans?
That's back when
Because you know that was like
yeah,
Lincoln
but
days.
it was but the Dakotas
Lincoln
were
was a
always
Republican.
but the Dakotas were always Republican.
Okay.
It was because they were the Dakota territories. Anyway, but what's funny about that is that Lincoln was a Republican, and his vice president. If you were talking about, you said you like
Lincoln. Lincoln was the
Lincoln.
best.
His vice president was a Democrat who didn't believe in abolishing slavery
Right.
and was against those things.
Yep.
And he still had faith in that guy.
You know why he
to
picked
be
him?
the
Because he
keep it-
needed,
and
he
he's
needed the
closer.
opposite of a point of view.
right. And so, but
That was
having it there
exactly
is
why
why
he
he
had
got votes. People
But
like
no, but it just proves why he was a great president. He needed somebody to correct, to kind of even out his thought process, maybe. and he was still the president. So he overrode.
North and South Dakota were admitted to the Union after controversy over the location of a capital. The Dakota Territory was split into two and divided into North and South in 1889. Later that year, on November 2nd, North Dakota and South Dakota were admitted to the Union as the 39th and 40th states. That means nothing. That's it. It just means nothing. It's more votes. It just means more votes. But that was just a question.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Why two Carolinas?
Wait, what? What?
No, it's like that was a
Oh,
question.
you found the reason why?
I found the reason why.
Can you read it again?
I will. You know what else I'll do?
Please
I'll give you
don't.
a book. I'll give you a book. Read the book. Nah, reading's not for me.
Oh, look at Pin Man. And
I like
Cowbell
myself
Man.
stupid.
They hang out together at Nick games.
Yeah.
Oh, how cute.
In their mech gear.
How cute. How awesome it would be if they were like gay lovers. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Not
I
in
like
their
them both.
shape.
I
Not
think
in their shape.
I like the. No, I'm not saying I want to see them have gay sex.
No, I'm just saying like not
I'm
in
just
their
saying,
shape.
I
Like
think
if they were two young guys.
that would be like the best, most romantical story ever. Cowbell
How
Man.
did you meet?
Cowbell Man and Pin Man.
Banging shit. How did you meet? Banging shit at City
That
Field.
would be I swear, I hope he doesn't listen. I mean, actually, I don't care because it's a cute story.
It's not even a real story.
I think it's funny, man.
But it's not
How
even real.
awesome would that be? It's not real.
Like if you guys were
I'm
gay,
just
that would
trying
be a
to, like-
great story.
Yeah. Imagine if you were both gay and you fell in love. Do you, Cowbell Man, take the Pin Man to be the awfully,
Ding 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 ding.
awfully, lawfully wedded Met fan husband?
Ding 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 ding. It's like
I do. And do you, Cowbell Man? No, hold on, Cowbell Man. Do you take the Pin Man? No, Cowbell Man. Hold on. Do you take the Pin Man to be your lawfully wedded husband?
and that's the end of that.
Yeah, I thought it was funny. Come on, dude. You
It's
shit
over.
all over my skits, dude.
That's what I do.
Come up with these
It's
skits and
over.
you trounce on them.
It's over.
You're supposed to be a comedian.
It's over. Oh, I am.
Well, then you gotta let me shine, guy.
But you're not the comedian.
Let me do my thing.
I do. I let you get away with a lot of stuff.
No, you don't.
I don't?
No.
You sure?
Yep.
You want to retrace your steps?
Yep.
Okay, go for it, guy.
Am I right? Thank you.
All right, that's
See how easy
that's
that was?
That's it. It's over. It's over at this point.
I'm right, you're wrong.
It's over at this point. It's time to go.
It's 2 hours. Oh,
It's time to go.
it's an hour and 50 minutes.
It's time to go. It's time to say goodbye.
Good night, sweetheart.
It's time to say goodnight, Gracie.
Well, it's time.
It's time to say goodnight,
go.
Gracie. Good night, Gracie. No, please, no. It's never. When you do that, I just hear it right here.
Turn
I'd
your
rather not.
volume down.
Wait.
You have
Oh
it
no, I
too
don't hear it as
high.
much. I don't hear it as much.
Good night, sweetheart.
No,
Good
I don't want to put
night.
this back on.
You have your volume too high, dude. If that bothers your ears, you have your volume.
No, that
high.
song did. That
That's-
version of
no,
it.
it's just my voice is angelic.
It's not angelic.
Don't lie,
It's
Mike.
angelic.
It's
It's
angelic.
anal-gelic.
You're such. You know what? You're a homophobe.
No, I
don't
can't.
know-
It's
I don't-
It's hard to.
What problem do you have with homosexuals? Tell me.
None.
Get it out there. Air your
I
grievances.
have none. I have none. Why would I have a problem with
Is it
homosexuals?
I don't know. Why you keep saying that then?
Which part?
That you have a problem with homosexuals.
I've never said that
You
once.
just said it.
I've never said that once.
You're a terrible guy. Listen, homosexuals, I love you. I got your back. Maybe not him. Listen to the Mike and Sean podcast show
No,
every goddamn week.
Sean's hoping to get the back.
Oh, wait, we got him. I got you.
Uh,
I got your back.
see,
Hold on.
and then
Look,
then it
hold
just
on,
turned
hold on.
into something
Hold on.
completely inappropriate.
Hold on. Shh. Oh, wait. Would you greased the seats? Oh, you greased them. Last week it was like, yeah, but come on. I love them all. I love the asexuals, the bisexuals, the C-sexuals.
When you
the
desexual,
homosexuals, the
Homo.
lesbianics.
Let's be
all of them.
honest. Do you love the pronouns?
We haven't seen your pistachio boy.
Yeah.
You got to bring him next week.
Yeah, Pistachio will be around soon.
Invite him back.
He'll be back.
You can knock
It's
on the
not
door.
him. It's not him. It's Heshe.
Oh wait, is it Heshe?
It's Heshe.
Yeah, but listen, I'm gonna have to write questions and you're gonna have to approve them because you obviously think that I'm a little too rude. So I'm gonna write questions.
Wait, I'm sorry. You're what?
I'm rude. You said I was rude and the king of
I
insults.
never said you were rude.
Yes, you did.
The king of insults is nothing. Is not being rude.
That's kind of being rude.
No, that's not being rude.
If you're the king of insults, don't you think that rude is probably
That's
a word
not
that's
rude.
associated
It
with
was
you?
accurate though.
All right, so I'm gonna write questions down and let you approve them. That I have to ask the Hesha.
Okay. No, you can ask whatever.
I got
question.
some real questions.
You can ask that. You can throw anything out
Oh,
there.
so now I'm allowed to because
On
you're
that
gonna-
topic,
'cause
on
you're-
that topic.
because you know that you can figure out the answers and quick control the conversation.
I don't know where this just went, but it's
don't know.
gone.
Yeah,
it's gone. It's gone.
We
and the
lost it.
conversation we just had.
I want Pistachio Jones next week.
Well, we not. You know, we might not have next week. We
Oh,
have,
there's no next
There
week.
might. So
Well,
we're not
we-
on.
Oh no, that's
Yeah.
right. I forgot.
So we might have to.
Our regularly scheduled program is going to continue when we figure it out after the.
When we take a break.
Stay tuned to our featured presentation.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Well, again, we are 3 times past the goodbye mark.
take care. Keep in touch with yourself.
So I just want to say good night.
HGH. Yellowstone. Steroids. Yellowstone.
School lunch. School lunch. Democrats.
Republicans.
Independence.
Fuck them all.
Independence.
America.
Glaciers. Glaciers. Rock bottom. Rock bottom.
Glaciers.